Comrades and friends, I wish all of you a very happy Christmas. I am aware that I am wishing you a happy Christmas at a time when India has undergone a change, especially in the last 7 years. Earlier, we used to celebrate the festivals of all communities unitedly. I still remember my children, along with the other children of the locality, going from house to house singing Christmas carol. And then in the neighborhood, people used to wait for a Eid so that they can enjoy a delicious food. And the people from the other communities, they used to wait for Diwali for sweets and crackers. But today the situation is different. And to put it in a simple way, a Urdu poet said, मिल के होती थी कभी ईद कभी दिवाली, मिल के होती थी कभी ईद कभी दिवाली, अब ये हालत है कि डर डर के गले मिलते हैं. This is the situation today. And unfortunately in our country, the language of hate has occupied the center stage. And on this occasion of Christmas and the festive season, let us take a pledge that we will work for a triumph of love over hate, because ultimately it is love which should win over hate, and that should be our New Year pledge. Now, comrades and friends, one of the most important difficulty that the Indian economy today is facing is the enormous price rise. The food prices have gone up, the vegetable prices have gone up, and the increase in the oil prices, the petroleum prices, has also led to the increase in all the essential goods that normally the poor consume. Now, we expected that the parliament that met in the winter session would discuss this very important issue, that the opposition parties will hold the government accountable for the policies that are leading to the economic disaster that have created so much of price rise. But unfortunately, such discussion could not take place in the parliament. And we are also surprised that no popular struggle is taking place on the issue of price rise, which impacts the life and living of the vast majority of our citizens. Now, what is inflation? In the economic terms, it means that the purchasing capacity of a currency declines. In simple terms, it means that if I have 100 rupees and I purchase certain goods and services with that 100 rupees, next month when I go to the market, because of the inflation, it will not be possible for me to purchase the same goods and services in the same 100 rupees. That is inflation. But in a simple term, the legendary leader of the working class of India, Comrade BTR, explained. He said, inflation is the institutionalized pickpocketing of the poor. And he went on to establish how inflation hurts the poor more than the rich. And that is the reality that we are today confronted with. The government of India announced that the wholesale price index inflation in November year on year has reached 14.24%, and this is the highest in the recent period. And it also said that the consumer price index has reached a figure of 4.91%, which also is the highest in the last 3 months. Now the question is that there is a huge difference between the wholesale and the retail. But our experience shows for the wholesale price index, the input cost for the production of a commodity also is taken into consideration. And ultimately, that input cost is going to be passed on to the consumer, but to come to the consumer, it is going to take certain time. So it is certain that in due course, in the coming months, 6 months, 7 months, consumer price index inflation is going to be high. In India, inflation is determined by a wholesale price index and a consumer price index. And within the consumer price index, there is a consumer price index for industrial workers, there is a consumer price index for agricultural workers, and the RBI, which determines the headline inflation, it depends upon an index which is a combination of rural and urban consumer price index. And the RBI legally is committed to maintain inflation at 4%. And it has given a liberty that in times of crisis it can be 2% plus or 2% minus. And if you look at the entire financial year of 2021, we have seen that the inflation has breached this 6%. It is around 6.7%. And the RBI has estimated for the current year, the inflation is going to be around 5.3%. One thing that we must note that inflation or the prices increase more relating to the food items that we consume, the basic necessities that are required for our existence, and the inflation is very nominal or non-existent as far as the luxury items are concerned. So that is the reason that we want the Reserve Bank of India to have a balance, a fair approach towards targeting the growth and towards targeting the inflation. But unfortunately, the Reserve Bank of India has come to the conclusion that it wants the growth to take place and it does not mind inflation to rise, and it does not intend to target the inflation for now. And that is going to have a huge impact on the poorer sections of the people. Now, according to the RBI itself, around 46% of the inflation figure comes from the food inflation. And the RBI says perhaps this is the highest in the world. The share of food inflation in the total inflation in India is the highest in the world. So we are asking the RBI, since it impacts the poor very much, you should have a fair approach where you take measures, monetary measures to increase the growth, but at the same time, you also take measures to target the inflation and keep it at a controllable rate so that the common people do not suffer much. But that is not the situation today in India. We are fortunate that our real wages, our real pension is protected because of the dearness allowance. But 95% of the workforce in this country and the common people do not have any protection against inflation. And when inflation takes place, what happens to them is that their real income suffers. Suppose I am having a income of 3,000 rupees, that 3,000 rupees is not in a position to purchase me goods and services which I was purchasing it last month. So there is a erosion in my real income. And when the real income erosion takes place for the poorer sections of the people, the first casualty is that they will start consuming less food, because food expenditure decreases, because it is not possible for them to decrease any other expenditure relating to the rent that they have to pay, relating to the fee that they have to pay for the children, or the transportation cost. So the simple thing that what they do is that they consume less food, and that is absolutely cruel for the poorer sections of the people. Secondly, you also see that a vast majority of people in this country depend upon interest income in the bank. And today we have a situation where the Reserve Bank of India for the last 2 years has not revised the interest rates. They have kept the interest rate at a lower rate to enable the industrialists to borrow the money from the banks at a cheaper cost. But this is cruel for the depositors, because even for a fixed deposit today, the maximum a bank gives is around 5.2%. And when your inflation rate is 6.7% or your inflation rate is 5.7%, it automatically means that there is a erosion in your savings. Whatever deposit that you have, its value in real terms has come down. There is a negative returns from the bank, accounting after inflation. And thirdly, the government also spent some money on the welfare schemes. And when the government spends the same amount on the welfare scheme, it does not account for inflation, which means lesser money is being invested in the welfare of the people. And this has got a huge impact on the living and the working conditions of the vast majority of the people. And that is why many economists say that growth disproportionately benefits the rich. And that is how we have studied last week when we talked about inequality, as to how much of the growth, the benefits of that growth has been cornered by the richer sections of the people. So the economists say growth disproportionately benefits the rich, while inflation disproportionately hurts the poor. And that is the reason why there should be a policy where you must, ensuring the growth, also target the inflation. But unfortunately, that is not being done. The rich do not feel, because of the very income levels, a little inflation does not cause them the kind of misery that the poorer sections with a lesser income feel. And secondly, they have got various other ways. During the inflation, the prices of the real estate also increases. They invest in that. They invest in gold. They invest in stock markets. And effectively, they cover themselves against inflation. But the poor do not have any of these benefits. Therefore, price rise is a killer. Price rise kills the poor, it hurts the poor, and that is very cruel in a democratic country. And the government must be held accountable for the massive price increase that has taken place in the country. I don't have to tell you what was the rate of tomatoes, what was the rate of vegetables. Though in the market the tomato prices or the vegetable prices were soaring, the farmers were not getting a remunerative price. That is another issue. So we must force the government to reorient the policies. And we say this pickpocketing of the poor must end. As a first step, the government and the Reserve Bank must intervene and target inflation. And that they can do it by reducing the petrol prices, the excise prices, so that the cascading effect of a price rise can be arrested. And secondly, they must ensure that the hoarders who hoard the food items, they are attacked. And it must ensure that nobody suffers for want of food and nobody dies out of hunger. And in a society in which we live, in a capitalist society where profit is the main consideration, these are the issues which will go into the background, and the government may not necessarily take all these steps, and that has to be forced. And for that, a massive public opinion has to be built up. A popular struggle has to be built up against the price rise. And unfortunately, we are living in a country where the issues relating to the life and living standards of the common people are not being debated in the society. What is being debated are the communal issues. What is being debated are the divisive issues. So that discourse has to be changed. That direction we need to change and bring to the focus of the national debate the issues relating to the life and living standards of the common people. And in that, the price rise must occupy a prime place along with unemployment and the other issues. So this is what I wanted to tell you this week, my dear comrades.